Hey, 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 thank you so much for watching my very first live broadcast here on YouTube. My name is Matthew Ferry. I help high conscious go-getters experience enlightened prosperity so that their mind can go quiet and they can live an epic life. I got some notes for you here. We're going to do 3 spiritual secrets to kickstart your epic life now. And the reason that these are spiritual secrets is that I have scoured the spiritual material out there in the world looking for why it is that my mind kept talking and talking and talking, why I kept feeling like I was not experiencing my full potential. You know, I would have these glimpses of feeling like, you know, woo, joy, peace, love, happiness, excitement, right? I'd have these moments. But then they would go away, and it was like I would get waylaid constantly. And through a very specific process, which I'm going to share pieces of with you today, called the Rapid Enlightenment process, I developed a methodology that is unlike almost anything that I have ever seen out there in the world, and I'm going to share little pieces of it today and hopefully bring you into my world and help you to see that you can begin to have an epic life. So let's talk about what an epic life is. An epic life in my book is what I call enlightened prosperity. So that means your mind is quiet, you're in a state of peace, and you're kicking ass, making money, having fun, achieving goals, experiencing life. I wrote down a couple things, right? Amazing experiences. That is an epic life. How about deep, trusting, enriching relationships? That is a part of an epic life. Feeling valued. That's a part of an epic life. Or trusting that all is well. Oh, God, that's so tough to trust that all is well. Worry and doubt and fear, those things get in the way. And then finally, peace of mind. So when I talk about epic life, that's what I'm referring to. So 3 spiritual secrets to kickstart your epic life now. I've got 4 objectives that I have written down for you. I want to review them, and then let's just jump right in. I'm not much of a preamble, introduce myself kind of guy, just so you know, okay? So slide number 1, please. To show you why your mind will never cooperate or participate in your goals no matter what the personal development gurus tell you, because no amount of programming is going to help you. You know this. You've achieved some goals. But for some strange reason, there's this thing that just waylays you, and you don't actually end up going after all the stuff that you want. Well, I will tell you that your mind is actually getting in the way, and we're going to talk about that today. The second objective, I want to point you in the right direction and show you why all the struggle in your life has been a simple misunderstanding of how the world works. So you need to think about it in this way. We are experiencing the world in our minds. And if you don't understand what the mind is doing and what consciousness is doing to filter your experience, then it doesn't matter. You're going to struggle because the mind is about getting through or moving away from struggle, and whatever you move away from, you draw to you. And then the third objective today, I want to reveal really for the first time in public, the 10 unconscious barriers. I call them hidden motives, but I thought I'd call them unconscious barriers to kind of get your attention here. These are the barriers to happiness and success that no trainer really is ever going to tell you about, because I coach trainers all the time, and I will tell you that every trainer that I have ever coached has been affected by what I call hidden motives to survive. And then the last objective, I'm going to share the most obvious way to guarantee happiness and success. I think you're going to be stoked. So check it out. You can see your epic life in your mind, right? You can see it. And you can see other people living versions of their epic life. But why is it that we just have this, it feels like we're not quite there yet all the time. It's like this perpetual state of, I'm not quite there yet, I'm almost there, I'm gonna get there, it is coming, I'm not quite there. There's this nagging feeling that we're not quite there yet. And what that does is it makes you feel like other people are getting like heaping scoops of epic life, right? And you're like, why am I only getting teaspoons of epic life? Well, what's going on with me, right? Because you have some pretty amazing relationships and you have some pretty incredible experiences, but you don't have all the ones that you want and you keep yearning for more. I suspect that, you feel valued periodically and you likely have moments where you trust that all is well. And I suspect that you probably even have some pretty intense moments of profound peace, but it's not all the time. It's not like you're in profound peace for the majority of the time. It's like you have these moments of profound peace and then you have these giant swaths of everything else. Well, there is a cause to all of this that I'd like to point out, and I call this is just for people like you and I call this the personal development prison. That drunk monkey in your head keeps you trapped in a reality. Then you go to seminars and you try to break out of the reality. You read books and you try to break out of the reality. You listen to audios, you try to break out of the reality. You watch live casts like this or YouTube or whatever. You're trying to break out of this prison that makes you feel confined. And here's the thing. The more personal development you do, the more confined you feel. It's sort of like I get ahead, but I don't ever feel like I'm all the way there yet. It's brutal. Really what's happening is for most of the training that you and I have done in the past, all of our well-meaning gurus and trainers and all of that, they've really helped us. Let's be honest. Your life is pretty darn good already. But that next step, like to go to a state where the mind is quiet, the intuition is coming through, joy is like surging out of you. You walk into a room and the plants start to grow and the sun shines through. To get to that state, our trainers really have never cracked the code. They keep telling us to cut the weeds off at the top, but they never show us how to go deep down in there and pull out those weeds and get them out. And even though some have said that they absolutely do, for the most part, they're actually dealing in realms that don't cut the weeds all the way out. I'm going to show you, I have what I call the genesis of reality, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I acknowledge that there's some kick-ass stuff out there, and it's made a huge difference for me. And then I'm acknowledging that there's like this deeper level that if you don't learn how to get to this deeper level, you're never going to go to unparalleled states of joy and peace, kicking ass, going for it, living what I call enlightened prosperity. So the solution to all of this really is to quiet your mind and allow your epic life to rush in and fill you with joy and profound peace. And it sounds really simple, and it sounds like, spiritual wackadoodle kind of thing, right? Just like, quiet your mind, allow your epic life to rush in, right? I know that it has like a vernacular to it, but I just want you to understand that that's really the only description that you can give to what it is that's going to happen to you if you get engaged in the kinds of things that I talk about, is that your mind will go quiet, and then all of a sudden your epic life will start to rush into your life. So in the past, you've been chasing after it, and there's a lot of merit. I don't want you to stop taking action under any circumstances. But now what we got to do is we have to actually just allow the flow to come in. There's this combo that we're going to use. So to begin the process, we're going to talk about 3 spiritual secrets that are going to kickstart your epic life, okay? And we're going to do it right now. And here's the thing. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, these are secrets because literally for the last 2 decades, I've been studying and studying and studying everything that I possibly can. And what I found is that nobody's talking about this. And if you don't talk about this, you're not going to succeed, achieve at the level that you want. And when I say succeed and achieve, I mean living enlightened prosperity, joy, peace, happiness, flow, and all the stuff and experiences and great relationships that you want. It's a combo pack, okay? So the secret number 1, this is spiritual secret number 1. Your mind doesn't have the same goals that you do. Will you write that down for me? Your mind doesn't have the same goals that you do. Most people are trying to program their minds and get their mind on their side to achieve the goals. And I know I certainly have. There was a time, for example, when I was making affirmation CDs and I was doing visualizing to try and get my mind to see the things that I want. And, by the way, I've had some relatively good success doing all of that stuff, but it never caused my mind to go completely quiet and my goals to rush in. And this is the thing that I want for you. I want you to go into a place where you're just like, right? You're just feeling good, you know? You're just like, yeah, my life is awesome. And all the stuff that you want is just happening. Kristen and I, in the last 30 days, have received 3 free or unbearably cheap vacations in the last 30 days. And it's just, we realized like, oh, you know, about 45 days ago, we started to think, you know, we're probably working a little too much right now. We're so excited about what we're doing with this, getting, you know, the Enlightenment idea out into the world. We should probably take some vacations. And all of a sudden, just like, wow, bam, things just started coming in and started happening. And, you know, you're going to find out that I don't know what my deal is, but I just like free stuff. I just like things when they're free. It's just fun for me when it's free. So as we get to know each other, you're just going to see that that's just one of my things. I like free things. So free vacations are better than paid vacations for me, okay? So your mind doesn't have the same goals that you do. And this is why you feel constrained or like you never fully achieve your goals, because what's happening is your mind, and I'm going to show you here the mind's motive. The mind actually has a whole other set of motives that have nothing to do with thriving. The mind's goal is to survive. So if you engage the mind as your tool to achieve your goals, you're screwed. So you go to a personal development seminar and they go, here's what we're going to do. We're going to visualize, we're going to write affirmations, we're going to write out our plan and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I'm probably going to, at some point, ask you to do some of those things as well, because they do sharpen the focus. And I think that that's really valuable. But I will tell you that those things, for the most part, end up blocking you from getting what you want. And the reason being is that your goals are actually coming through you. And if you will learn to allow the universe to manifest through you, it's mind-blowing what happens and how fast things start to happen and how much joy like wells up in you, like where all of a sudden you're just like, you know, you just start laughing or you just start crying tears of joy, because it's like so mind-blowing how amazing life is. But if you engage the mind, forget about it. If you use your mind for that stuff, no, there will be frustration, there'll be stress, and you'll be like, why is it not happening? It's not happening fast enough. What's wrong with me? What's wrong? Everybody else is getting what they want. I'm not getting what I want. I mean, that's the result of using your mind to achieve goals. We're going to use something else completely, okay? I wrote this down, and I'd like you to write it down as well, okay? And that is, the motivation of your mind chatter conflicts with your desire to have an epic life. Your motivation, the motivation of your mind chatter, conflicts with your desire to have an epic life. So if you tune in to the mind, you will see that for example, you say, I'd like to get up early and exercise, because I see that getting the body into a good condition actually gives me a lot more possibility, a lot more energy, etc., right? Whatever your desire is. But then you notice that the mind literally says, hit snooze, boink, right? So the mind conflicts. The mind chatter is conflicting with your objective. And then what we do is we go to these personal development seminars and they go, okay, what you have to do is you have to program the mind, or you have to wrestle the mind to the ground, or you have to, you know, annihilate the mind, or you have to dominate the mind, or all of those things. And believe me, I tried them all. All they do is make the mind even more powerful. All they do is make the mind even more antagonistic, even more annoying. And then when you fail to conquer the mind, then the mind starts beating you up. You're a loser. Everybody's better than you. You're stupid. You can't do it. It's brutal. I want to give you a completely different way of doing it, okay? So I've said I'm going to share with you something that I haven't shared in public before, and it's not exactly right. I shared this at my last big event, and we did a tremendous amount of work at this, but I've never shared it like in a free, you know, online, like, let me share it with everybody. This is something I've been working with my private coaching clients on for about the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm really recognizing that if you don't do something about this, forget about it. You're not going to have the epic life that you want. So there are 10 unconscious barriers to living an epic life. And here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to write down what they are. I want you to write down hidden motives to survive. Hidden motives to survive. So these hidden motives are literally like the programming of your consciousness. They are not the drunk monkey and the chatter in your head. They're actually what causes the drunk monkey and the chatter in your head. So these aren't these aren't controllable by controlling your mind. You actually have to use what I'm gonna say this, but it's probably not the right words. It's quote unquote spiritual healing methods in order to get rid of these underlying motives. Okay, but the first one is being greedy. And the reason why I put this one first is almost everyone objects to it, but I just want you to know you're full of crap. You 100% are greedy. And it's not that you're greedy like, you're a mean person. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But what I am talking about is that you have fear and concern or doubt that you will get everything that you need. And that, my friend, is greed. So greed is nothing more than the fear that I won't have all the resources that I need, or I'm not getting what other people are getting, or I'm getting less than other people, or I don't have as much status as I want, I don't have as much power as I want. This is all a form of greed. And if you do not take the time to correct this imbalance in your consciousness, forget about it. You will literally become attached to your goals, and you'll start making your goals wrong, that you're not achieving them. It's this crazy loop that happens. The second hidden motive is playing the victim. And I got to tell you, so many of my high conscious friends that I meet out there in the world, they think they got this victim thing down. In fact, so many of the trainers that I train, they are like, they literally are offended when I point out to them how they're being a victim still. But this victim thing is so subtle, because victim is any form of powerlessness. So anytime you feel powerless in any way, it's because you've got victim going on. And if you don't correct that imbalance, forget about it. If you feel powerless and your goals and dreams aren't coming true, it will cause you to spiral. The third hidden motive is following illogical rules. Most people don't realize that they come into life programmed in their consciousness with a set of rules about how life is and how you're supposed to behave and how you're supposed to act. Yes, there's cultural conditioning. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? So there's what your mom and dad or the people who raised you taught you, or what you learned in your religion, or what you learned in school or with your friends. That's different. That we can do something about. This illogical rule hidden motive actually comes in as a filter, or as a background reality shaper. And if you don't correct this imbalance, you will be following rules that literally cause you to fail, or you'll shoot yourself in the foot over and over and over, and you'll be like, what happened? Why did that? I don't understand. Why do I keep shooting myself in the foot? There might be an illogical rule that's happening. The fourth one I want you to write down is being humble. Now, most people, especially the spiritual types out there in the world, they're like, Matthew, being humble, that's good. You're supposed to be humble. And humbleness, I'll explain it in much more detail at other trainings, but I will just say it in this way. Humble means to make yourself less important. And anytime you're making yourself less important, you're basically diminishing yourself. And while humble seems like it's a good idea, most of my spiritually focused friends, when I meet them, they've bought into this idea of being humble, and it actually holds them back. They're not able to achieve enlightened states because of the humbleness. And that's the exact opposite of what everyone else says. Everyone else says, if you want to get into these enlightened states, then you better be humble. And I'm telling you, bullshit. That is not true. And I can't wait to help you get to eliminate humbleness from your consciousness, so that you can accelerate into enlightened states. The next one, write down hiding your true intentions. Ooh-wee, being a traitor. How often have you sat there with someone pretending that you like them, but in your mind you're like, oh my God, get me away from this person? Or how many times have you been with your wife or your husband and you're like, oh no, honey, it's great, it's perfect. But in the back of your mind, you're like, why are we doing this? This is traitor. This is hiding your true intentions. This is you sitting in front of your boss at work and saying yes when you really want to say no. This is you saying yes to going to a party on Saturday night when you really just want to sit on the couch and veg out and sort of recuperate a little bit, but you go anyways. This will literally cause you to not achieve your goals. And then I want you to write down the next one, which is pride. Now, so many of us, we don't even realize how much pride we have just about personal development. We're walking around, we see our friends not operating in a way that is optimal, and we're immediately in there like, you know, if you did this, or if you read that book, or if you look, this is pride. You need to stop doing that stuff, because I will tell you, all it does is create negative reactions in the world, and it shuts you down and slows you down. The next one, write down being lazy. Seems like you're like, Matthew, I have discipline. I'm not being lazy, blah, blah, blah. But I promise you, if we do an investigation utilizing the rapid enlightenment process, you will discover that there's some laziness in there. May not be a lot, but it shocks me how much laziness I find in my own consciousness still. Then I want you to write down resisting. Anytime you're resisting, you're in the car, you're driving, you're resisting how long it's taking. You're listening to my presentation and you're saying whatever and you're resisting. You're at the office and one of the people are talking in the meeting and you're resisting. Anytime you're resisting, you're diminishing yourself. And then write down holding grudges. Now, we hold grudges because we think that holding the grudge is actually going to be a positive thing, and it really is a negative thing. I love what Buddha said. Holding a grudge is like picking up a hot coal to throw at somebody else. It really just hurts you, but you actually have to use the rapid enlightenment process to discern the grudges that you hold. Then you have to correct the imbalance using a combination of a spiritual methodology plus something called recontextualization. And then the last one is hating. We think that hating is good. We think like, if I hate, this is one for people like you and I. We don't like negativity. So when you don't like something like that and you put that negative spin on it, it moves into this realm of hating. And what happens is when you are against, that's what hating is, when you're against positivity or negativity, for example, what happens is you become negative. So you are being the thing that you are disliking. It happens over and over and over. These are the hidden motives to survive. If you don't get these things under control, if you don't correct these imbalances, forget about it. Your mind is never going to participate with you on your goals. So let me go even deeper. My objective on this live cast is to just blow your mind, okay? I'm just gonna, and I just want you to know, I'm doing tip of the iceberg stuff with you today. So after 20 years of deep meditation and spiritual investigation, I have discerned what I believe is the genesis of reality. And when I say don't think of me like I'm being Mr. Important. I just like to name things really cool things, and Kristen is like the ultimate namer. And so that's what we did, the genesis of reality, okay? But you want to think about it like this. You and I are nothing more than molecules and cells, and those are made up of atoms, and those atoms are made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons, and then it gets even smaller with quarks and blah, 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 all of that stuff, right? But if you just look at electrons, protons, and neutrons, those things are disappearing and reappearing into a background field of probabilities, right? That's called superposition, right? We don't know where an electron is until we look at it, right? We can't predict where it's going to be. It's because it's in a field of all possibilities. So basically, you are nowhere and everywhere at the same time. You are disappearing and reappearing into some background field, some creative force, the quantum field. That then comes into being. So now go down to the next thing, consciousness. And when you come into life, have you noticed that you have some unexplained tendencies that just like come in? If you have kids, right? You train your kids to try and be like you, but your kids are totally different. They got their own thing going on. And when you came in, you had your own thing going on. You can't figure out where does my personality and my understanding and the way that I see the world, where does it actually come from? There's this realm called consciousness that if you don't learn to adjust or correct the imbalances in consciousness, it's going to really, really slow you down. This is the realm of karma, or how DNA is affected by consciousness, etc., etc. Then you go down one deeper. We're getting closer to your reality here. Then you go down one deeper. This is the area of the hidden motives to survive. We're going to call this in the unconscious. And when I say it's unconscious, what I mean by that is it is like the programming of the consciousness. So here comes this creative force. It goes down into the consciousness when you're born. That consciousness now comes into this set of filters, these hidden motives, and then that goes into your personality. And what you'll see is your personality, like how you're reacting and responding to the world, is really the unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey, and then ultimately that creates your reality. If you are not playing in the realm of consciousness and unconsciousness, then you are going to feel like a hamster on a hamster wheel. So if you don't work at the level of the hidden motives and the unexplained tendencies, then you're going to be stuck in the personal development prison, is what I wrote down here. So I want you to just hear what one of our clients, Kelly, had to say about this process and how it affected her. Let's tune into Kelly now and hear what she had to say.
No matter how many of those rah-rah seminars that I did, and I'm unstoppable and all of that stuff, I was doing that till I could just about vomit in my mouth, and I still wasn't getting to the core that was underneath there. And I was having some levels of success, but
all right, so I'm going to double time my speed now, babe.
And I knew it was a mindset issue, and I knew it was deeper than any of those other seminars was gonna do for me, because I've done them all. This year has been a lot of breakdown, and then a level of peace and comfort in my own skin that I don't think I've ever felt before. The emotional side of things after the breakdown is the ability to connect with people, which is something I never had before. And I'm learning in that ability, that's where the success is. That's where my joy is. That's where I'm experiencing the most peace and being a part of a community and being a part of something greater than myself. And there's a lot of love in that. There's a lot of love in that. No matter.
So you want to think about it like this, right? The rah-rah seminars and the, we're going to change ourselves and we're going to become something new. All that stuff, like, it just doesn't work. And what Kelly talked about, which I thought was so valuable, is that she still had breakdowns going on in her life, but she was able to be in those breakdowns in a state of profound peace and flow. And when you're in peace and flow, you're more creative, you're more resourceful, you're more effective, you can deal with things as they are. And that's the real trick. But you have to be able to spot the hidden motives, like victim, for example. Like you go into victim, and now you're not creative at all. Now you're just reacting. So let's talk about spiritual secret number 2. And I want you to write this down for me. Your goals are trying to become reality. No struggle is necessary. Your goals are trying to become reality. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to worry about your goals coming. Your goals are coming. They are these ideas that you get. You get these ideas, and then all of a sudden you feel this volition, this pull to go and do them. Now, what gets in your way is then the drunk monkey in your head attaches meaning to it and says, if I don't achieve the goal, it means I'm a loser. If I don't achieve the goal, then I'm behind. If I don't achieve the goal, then I lose my status. And first of all, none of that stuff is true. You're literally following illogical rules that don't even make any sense. You have to be able to spot the mind attaching meaning to your goals and then learn how to release the attachment and get into that flow state. It's sort of like this, okay? You just need to get your mind out of the way. If you will get your mind out of the way, it'll blow your mind how fast the things you want come true, because the things that you want aren't yours. I want you to think about it like this. Everything is moving towards greater states of order. Everything is moving towards greater states of order. What does that mean? That means that the whole of the universe has both a creative force that's happening where things are growing, things are going into higher states of order, things are becoming. Then there's an entropic force or a degrading force as things go through their life cycle. Then they go into a degraded state and go back into the universe and the physical world that we're in, right? You see a tree grow, it's growing into greater states of order, until it completes whatever its process is, and then it falls over, and then it degrades back into the landscape and becomes then food for the next thing to grow into order. Your goals are doing the same thing, but they're doing it through you. Your goals are coming into reality through you. That's it. You're what is being created. So it's sort of like this. The source of everything you experience is ultimately consciousness. It's not you. You don't own it, okay? Think about it in this way. Most training works on changing your circumstances. So they work down here in the realm of reality, right? But look at the whole giant triangle there. So there's all this other stuff that is far more influential. So most training is trying to work on, time management and skill building and discipline and accountability and those kinds of things. And while I 100% want you to do all of those things, if you don't take care of the other stuff, the unconscious, the consciousness, and your relationship to the creative force, if you don't manage that stuff, forget about it, okay? Then more advanced training is going to work on your mindset. And I've been doing this for years with people. I've looked at, okay, I teach people to do this thing, but then something stops them, something in their mind stops them from doing it. So I began to work on the drunk monkey. It's something that I don't know if you know this or not, but I created the term the drunk monkey as a representation for the negative chatter in our mind all the way back in 1991, and it's become pervasive. People use that to describe the chatter in their head, and I think that's a really, really good idea. And yet, what I found was I was working with people on their drunk monkey, and there was still something that was influencing the drunk monkey. And I was like, what is this thing that's influencing the drunk monkey? And it took going into deep spiritual states to figure out what the heck was going on. And that's the next thing. And that is, to get the mind to go quiet, you have to correct the imbalances created by the hidden motives. So you got to actually go into the hidden motives, and you have to correct their imbalances. This is the thing that I would love to do with you. And then the ultimate change occurs when you work on the pre-existing conditions in your consciousness. Let's call that karma. Let's call that predisposition. Let's call that your consciousness, like the information contained in your consciousness. Some people might call it your soul, right? But that sliver of energy and information that is you, that is part of the pervasive global universal oneness. So affect the source, the changes happen naturally, no struggle necessary. So check this out. Here's the real deal. When your mind goes quiet, you see the probabilities. When your mind goes quiet, you see the probabilities. So if you want to speed your goals up, and you want to live an epic life, what you got to do is get the mind to go quiet. Because when you get the mind to go quiet, suddenly your ability to see what is actually manifesting coming. See the waves in the background on this slide? That's like the universe is manifesting. There's these ideas, these inspirations and ideas that are coming. They're out there in the field. And when your mind is quiet, you can tune into those things, and all of a sudden, boom, breakthroughs start to happen. So you have this inspiration, these ideas start to come, breakthroughs happen, and that creates an epic life for you. And that's so important. When you learn to quiet the mind, you see what's already manifesting. You see what's already manifesting, and then you just get aligned with it. And here's the thing that I want you to know. I'd like you to write this down. Will you write down, my goals are not my goals. They are what is manifesting through me. My goals are not my goals. They are what is manifesting through me. They're not your goals. Where did they come from? You created them. No, you didn't do that. Instead, what happened was ideas and information came into this sensing, interpreting thing that you have. And then it extrapolated and made up a new idea like, oh, what if? Or maybe I should. Or, I'm really pissed about this thing and I want to change that thing, right? All of those things, they just come in. And when your mind is quiet, all of a sudden, you see this whole garden in front of you and you just go like, oh, I'll have a little of that. I'll take a little bit of this. I'll take a little bit of that. So think about it like this. Will you just write this down? I am what is being created. I am what is being created. There is this quantum field, this creative force. It seems to be going to greater and greater states of order, while simultaneously it is opposed by entropy. That creative force is expressing itself in your consciousness, which is sort of this pervasive background state of your awareness. That's where all of these unexplained tendencies come from. That is then being filtered through your hidden motives to survive. This is not programming at the level of genetics. This is programming at the level of your consciousness. This is like race consciousness, human consciousness. Then that is finally being experienced by you as the drunk monkey and all of its craziness. That's in your personality. And then ultimately you're having an experience. Now, when you are able to quiet the drunk monkey and correct the imbalances of the hidden motives, suddenly you can tap into this creative force, this quantum field that is manifesting and cherry pick the great stuff that's happening. And all you have to do is get focused on it. The whole buffet of life is available to you. So your goals are trying to come into existence. And I'm proposing that's what's blocking your goals from coming into existence is you aren't aware of how the world works. You aren't aware of a more enlightened perspective about how things are coming about and coming through you. I want you to watch a video from one of our participants, Brett, and I want you to kind of get a sense of how he was in this old model, like, someday in the future, I'm going to be successful and I have to work really hard and grind it out, and then I'm going to be successful. And once he got connected to this idea of quieting the mind down and just really getting present to what's happening in his experience, he was able to handpick the amazing things, and stuff just started to happen. Watch Brett and hear it in his own words, okay?
I always had goals set in place, and I always felt that, okay, when I hit this, everything was going to be better. And I thought I was going to create this amazing life 30, 40 years from now that I was going to have to grind through the whole time to get there. And Matthew showed me how to make it happen right now. So I wake up every day with an extremely strong mindset, and as a result of that, through ease and flow without even trying, my business grew quite a bit. The most meaningful thing for me is definitely just having a strong mindset, day in and day out, and being able to operate from that peaceful, calm state. There's almost like a high associated with it, where you just feel so powerful, but with a lot of integrity. I always had goals set in place, and
ease and flow. That's really what he was talking about, right? Ease and flow, because let's just get to the third secret, okay? Let's just write it down. Spiritual secret number 3. I want you to write this down. In an enlightened state, happiness is guaranteed and success is natural. Spiritual secret number 3. In an enlightened state, happiness is guaranteed and success is natural. So, what is an epic life, right? If we just go back and visit this idea, it is enlightened prosperity. You are having profound states of peace. You're overwhelmed with joy. You're feeling a connectedness to the whole of nature, to all the people, every person that you see yourself in them and them in you, no matter what. You don't resist anybody. You're in this incredible state. That's the enlightenment part. Then there's prosperity, because when you are in this enlightened state, it's so much easier to do the things that you used to resist. You used to resist it and you didn't know why you resisted it, but now you're just like doing it. All the relationships that had been screwing you up before or taking you off track or causing you to not feel good, suddenly you're not resisting any of those people and you're accepting and opening. It's like amazing experiences, deep, trusting, enriching relationships, feeling valued, trusting that all is well, peace of mind. That's what it means to have an epic life, okay? So write this down. Enlightenment is a state of total and complete acceptance of all things. Enlightenment is a state of total and complete acceptance of all things. Enlightenment is so badass because you see things as they are rather than seeing things through the filters. And when I say you see things as they are, I don't mean that suddenly you have the capability of the scientific measuring instruments that we have today, which are like I'm so into and so fascinated by. That's not what I'm saying at all. When I say you see things as they are when you're in an enlightened state, what I mean by that is you recognize you're completely full of it. You recognize that everything you're experiencing is 100% through your mechanism, that you have these things that are at your advantage. See, hear, smell, taste, feel, and that these things are 100% inaccurate in the way that they are experiencing the world. Just ask a scientist and ask them what's actually happening in the world, and you'll start to see, oh boy, how did we even get around with see, hear, smell, taste, feel? But we have been. We're doing fine and dandy. When you're enlightened, you see things as they are. You go, okay, well, the whole thing is made up. It's all me. So if I'm going to make things up, might as well make things up to feel good. If I'm going to make things up, why am I making things up to make me feel bad? That's stupid. And when you're in this enlightened state, you're not resisting anything. So it's sort of like this. Will you just write this down? You recognize that life is not urgent and it doesn't matter. Because in your enlightened state, you recognize that there is this, at the top of the upside down pyramid that I showed you, you have this pervasive oneness, this quantum field, this background field of possibility. It's omnipresent in the universe. It's like a ground state. And the electrons, protons, and neutrons appear to be coming in and out of that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a scientist, okay? But I'm just trying to help you conceptualize, okay? So your electrons, protons, and neutrons are sort of, they're coming in and out of this background state. Let's call it consciousness. And that then is starting to manifest, and it's manifesting through you. And because you are this background state, because you are this pervasive oneness, the idea of separation and being an individual and being limited in your enlightened state evaporates. You see yourself as infinite. And when you see yourself as infinite, holy shit. When you see yourself as infinite, when you know you're infinite, oh my God, it is nutball what you will take on. You will literally take on all the things that you have always resisted and felt, scared of. You'll be like, why am I scared? I'm infinite, right? And it's not I'm infinite like arrogance or pride. It's I'm infinite like just practical. And it takes the mind going quiet in order to get there. Because if the mind is still chatting, the mind, if we go back up to the unconscious, the hidden motives, right? The hidden motives are going to say, you better be greedy. You have a limited time on the earth. You've seen other people die before you. They're not here anymore. That's going to be you, right? You're a victim. You don't have power. Look at that wave came, killed all those people, right? There's terrorists. If you're listening to the mind, you're never going to get to a state of feeling infinite. So you have to learn how to shut the mind down. And meditation, unfortunately, is not the answer. Meditation is the answer for short-term fix, right? So if I meditate, I could shut my mind down for, a good 30, 40 minutes or something like that. But as soon as I re-engage the world, the mind pops up. I might be able to practice, 20, 30, 40 years and get it to last for longer. But for the most part, you actually just need to undo the motivation of the mind. Once you do that, the enlightened state comes. And when the enlightened state comes, oh my God. So I define consciousness as what you can see and what you can accept. So if you don't accept things, it's because you are attached and you are afraid in some way. So I want you to just think about it in this way. I created a little slide for you to look at. It's kind of like this. The more you see, the more you accept, the happier you are. It's real simple. So you can see, right? Acceptance, the more acceptance you have, the happier you get, and the more awareness you have. So awareness, you become aware of more, and the more you accept what you're aware of, the more happiness you have, and the less you accept what you're aware of, the more suffering you experience. So suffering happens because of resistance. Suffering occurs because you have an opinion. Your opinion is a mechanism for staying alive longer. And once you recognize that your opinion is completely invalid, irrelevant, and no one cares, once you really get it to the core, you will stop giving your opinion on everything. And if you do give your opinion, you will give your opinion knowing it's just your opinion. It has nothing to do with reality. It's just what you're experiencing. It will really lighten you up. So when you practice acceptance, all of your relationships will improve. Every one of them. So I want you to just listen to Jackie. She's done a bunch of training with me, and I just want you to kind of get a sense of what happens when your mind goes quiet, what happens in your relationships. Let's watch Jackie now.
Results have been absolutely amazing. So my friendships are stronger than ever. I have a very easy time making friends, and anyone who knows me knows I have hundreds of friends all over the country pretty much. I found the love of my life, got married, we have a wonderful relationship, and all the skills that I've learned working with Matthew has helped me with my marriage significantly. The results have been absolutely amazing. So my friendships are stronger than ever. I have a very easy time making friends, and anyone who knows me knows I have hundreds.
So enlightenment is the recognition that the source of life within you is the source of life in everything and everyone else. Everything you see is basically the same thing. It is electrons, protons, and neutrons disappearing and reappearing, whatever, millions or trillions of times per second. Don't quote me on it. I don't know what the rate is, okay? But what I do know is that when I connect with the idea that everything I'm experiencing is basically the same thing manifesting into this reality, and the only thing that is making it real is my observation of it. The moment I get to that quantum idea, my mind stops resisting. We are all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety, and when you get that, it's nuts what happens. I mean, what happens when you start to live like everything I'm experiencing is just the infinite amount of information and energy expressing itself through me, and I'm experiencing it out here in the world, okay? It's crazy what happens. Your ability to take action, do things that you wouldn't normally do, have incredibly powerful conversations, not put up with being degraded by other people, not be taken advantage of, confront situations that don't work for you. I mean, it's epic what happens. Epic life. Quiet mind, epic life. That's the whole deal. So here is a recap of the 3 spiritual secrets that kickstart your epic life now. The first spiritual secret, number 1, is that your mind doesn't have the same goals that you do. And if you are going to try and use your mind to get your goals to come about, I promise you, you're going to run into a lot of resistance, and it's going to be a real pain in your booty. Number 2, spiritual secret number 2, your goals are trying to become your reality. So you don't have to push and force. You actually need to just quiet the mind down, see what's coming through, and then become the steward, the shepherd. Are you going to use time management? 100% yes. Are you going to use discipline? 1000% yes. Do you need skills and experience and a network and all the things that our mentors tell us you need for success? Do you need all those things? 1000% yes, you do. But here's the deal. It doesn't mean you can do them. You actually have to quiet the mind down, get all of the survival motives to be corrected, correct those imbalances so that they go away, and now all of a sudden you can embrace discipline in a way that you've never been able to embrace before. You can network in a way where the fears that you used to have are gone, right? So you just want to get this, so important. Your goals are trying to become a reality. There's no struggle necessary. And then spiritual secret number 3, in an enlightened state, happiness is guaranteed and success is natural. And that doesn't mean that becoming enlightened will make you successful, okay? It's like what I just said a minute ago. In an enlightened state, you can then easily and effortlessly address the areas of ineffectiveness and work on getting better at them. You can admit, I suck at this. So I'm going to hire someone to do that, or I'm going to engage, or I'm going to learn, right? You aren't burdened by trying to prove that you're amazing or insecurities or whatever. All that stuff is gone. So it's not that enlightenment equals success. It's that enlightenment means you don't resist the things that it takes to be successful. And you get to choose, which is even better. And you get to see that there's things that are just naturally manifesting, so you might as well ride those waves. Why try and struggle against? Why not just ride the waves of the things that are already coming into being and just enjoy their manifestation? It's a whole little methodology. So that's it. That's the completion of the training portion. And I promised in my marketing to all of my friends on my email list, by the way, thank you for being on my email list, and thanks for being connected with me on Facebook and YouTube and all that. I really appreciate it. It makes, like my relationship to you actually gives me a lot of meaning and value and purpose and strength. So I really appreciate that. But I promised that there would be a big announcement at the completion of the training. And I want to do that now, okay? So here's what it entails. First of all, I've created a way to help you become enlightened. And I know that that is an audacious statement, and that audacious statement is literally 25 years in the making. I have developed a methodology called the Rapid Enlightenment Process. And if you will utilize the Rapid Enlightenment Process, you will go into, first of all, we can get you into enlightened states, right? I mean, if I just send you to, one of the gurus out there, you'll go into enlightened states in their presence. And, I understand that. But it's one thing to go into enlightened states. It's another thing to be enlightened at Thanksgiving dinner. That's a whole different deal. Because being enlightened at Thanksgiving dinner is going to take something totally different. That's what I teach. How do you maintain your enlightenment? How do you get enlightened a bit? And then how do you maintain it, okay? Then I've also created a retreat for you that will shelter you from the insanity of your life. And it's a place where you can come and you can practice being in a state of profound peace. It's a place where you can come and we can work together to correct the imbalances in your consciousness and in the hidden motives so that the mind isn't bugging you so much. And we can discuss the practices that you take on in order to maintain your enlightenment. Then I've also created a way for you to remove the blocks to your goals coming into being. Because what I found is, it took me, first of all, I had mentors that I picked and choose from for, 2 decades now. But it really took me putting it all together to find the most efficient way to do it, because I don't know about you, but I just want to have a great life. I want to do it now. I don't want to wait until I'm old. You know what I'm saying? So I literally am in the business of remove the block immediately. Like, why are we focused on that? Let's get that block out of there. And then I've just created all these techniques and methodologies to go in and rapidly remove the blocks so that all of a sudden the flow of the universe comes through you and things just start happening really, really fast. Okay? It's very, very cool. And then I've created a platform for you to launch your epic life. And what is all of this stuff? It is very simple. It's called Epic Life Live. And it's going to be on March 15th and 16th here in Orange County, California. That's where I'm from. And I just want you to know that this 2-day retreat is the ultimate gift for you. That you want to give yourself this gift. You're such a giver already. You give to everybody else. You're trying to make sure everybody else's life is good. You need to make sure your life is good. And I want you to come and be in a place with me where together we take on getting you into profound states of peace and flow and happiness so that your goals and your dreams start manifesting rapidly. In fact, I want you to watch a video here. Here's a few people who recently have gone through an experience with me, and this is what they said about it as they were in the process of going through that experience with me. Let's go ahead and roll that video now.
Amazing feeling I have ever had.
My mind is calm, it's quiet. All the mental chatter is gone.
And that was one of the most gratifying experiences that I have ever felt.
I feel so much peace in my mind after it, and so just enthusiastic to go get all my dreams and goals.
Joy, peace, happiness, bliss.
That this is the absolute place to be and the only place to be as far as I'm concerned.
It's not anything like anything else that is out there, and that is a good thing.
Just go. You cannot explain it. You just have to go. If you care about life, if you care about feeling good at all time, if you care about being inspired, you just go. Amazing feeling.
So listen, Epic Life Live, I want you to come. I want you to have what they talked about. And I know that I can get you there. And I know I can give you the tools to practice afterwards to stay in that state. And they're not tools that are about meditation, as this is not the normal stuff that you would get yourself involved in. I love meditating, don't get me wrong. We will meditate. We will do that for sure. But meditation is not the practice that I propose. Meditation is just an enjoyable thing that I propose. And I like to use closed eye things to actually do healing processes, not necessarily programming, but actually healing and correcting imbalances. So we'll do some of that stuff. But you deserve to give yourself this gift. And here's what I want you to know. If you come and sign up at the door, it's going to cost you $795. And I would not recommend doing that. Don't do that. Make a plan to get yourself to this event now. If you procrastinate a little bit and you decide that you're going to wait until after the holidays to give yourself a gift, I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's going to cost you $495 after the holidays. What I would prefer that you do is that you give yourself the gift of this now. You just put it in your schedule now. And that gift for an early bird like you is going to cost you $295. I think that is a smoking hot deal, and you should immediately take advantage of it. Now, I want to take it to the next level because it's not until March, but you and I, we need to engage. We need to get involved immediately. So what I've done is I've just spent the last 2 months completely redoing my training about the drunk monkey called Transforming Fear into Action. And this is 13 30-minute to 1-hour sessions where we dive into enlightenment and we dive into the idea of how do we start to see the mind for what it is and not buy into the mind, because when you buy into the mind, forget about it. That's when you start to spiral and you feel sideswiped. So I'm going to give you this training if you will sign up at this early bird time. And this is a $795 value. If you go to my site and you look on my site, you will see that we sell this right now for $795. I want you to immediately sign up now, and I want you to engage me. You'll have access to the Transforming Fear into Action all the way up to March 31st, and then we're going to kill off your access. You'll have to do something else with us. But for now, what I want you to do is train with me all the way until we get to the event, so that by the time we get to the event, you're in this incredible place, okay? Now, there's another thing that I want to give you, and this is a copy of my new book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life. And that is, the subtitle of that is Escape the Status Quo and Experience Enlightened Prosperity Now. I'm going to sign them. I'm going to number them. We're making a limited number of these books just for people who sign up for Early Bird. And I just want you to know that we're not going to actually publish the book until mid next year. So you're going to get it months and months in advance. We're going to give you a really nice special copy for anyone who signs up. That's a $25 value. So I want you to think about it like this, okay? A ticket at the door going to cost you $795. Transforming Fear into Action, that'll cost you $795. A book will cost you $25. So the total value is $1,615. You're going to get all of that for $295 today, and I would 1,000% do it. That's my recommendation. So if you'll go to epiclifelive.com, epiclifelive.com, you can get yourself registered for this ASAP. I would love for you to do it. I would love to be a part of your enlightened prosperity. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to questions, concerns, comments. I know that Kristen and Donna have been masterminding and brainstorming, how are we going to get all the questions from everybody? Remember, this is our first live stream. I'm sitting in my living room, right? So we have 2 cameras set up here, and they're in the studio, and they're running the whole show in there. So Kristen's going to come out on her laptop now, and I hope she has some questions, or I don't know what happened. Did we get questions? Did it work?
Yeah, we've got a couple questions.
All right, sweet. Okay, do you want to come out here and tell me about them?
Yeah, so the first one is, this is from
She's talking.
FMJK Lewis.
FMJK Lewis, got it.
Asks, is sharing information from Matthew a part of pride?
Is sharing information from Matthew a part of pride? And the answer is yes and no. So it is prideful when you are sharing the information because you see that the person is less than, and they should be more. You see that they're less than. So that means that you're viewing the situation as if they are not the pervasive oneness. You're basically saying they should be more. They're broken. The way that they are now is not the right way. And if they would take this on, then they would be in the right way. That's pride. Okay, it's also a little bit of arrogance. And what you want to do is you want to share these kinds of ideas with people who are into it, right? Your buddies, your friends, masterminding, talking, helping each other out, holding each other accountable. You do that with people who are into it. I realized, for example, that in just my kids, for example, with my kids, there's one of them who's into it. There's one of them who used to be into it, and there's two who aren't into it at all. And I used to just be shoving it down their face all the time, trying to help them to go into enlightened states. And I literally transitioned about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I got to a place where I just said, they are as much God as I am. And they are an expression of this same energy and information that I am, just coming through in a different way. And my perspective about them is nothing more than the filters of the greater consciousness up here, those tendencies that we talked about. And then there's also a little bit of my pride, a little bit of my fear for them. Are they going to be a victim because they can't, achieve the way that I want? You know what I mean? All these filters. And once I sort of got to a place where I just fully recognized their oneness, and I recognized that everything that I thought they were experiencing that was negative was only negative because of the definition and the meaning that I was giving it, when I let that go, I stopped helping them unless they ask for help. And doesn't mean I don't guide my children and help my children, okay? I'm not an idiot. But what it does mean is that I'm not in this state of trying to help them because they're broken. Instead, if they want help on some of these higher concepts, I'm there for you. But really, in the end, I only personally share these kinds of things with people who are curious, they're interested, and you can tell, right? You can tell when someone's into this. You can tell when someone's one of us. We're like team, enlightened prosperity, right? We're spiritual and we want to have a kick-ass life. It's kind of a unique person. There's plenty of people who are spiritual. They don't really care about having a lot of prosperity. Plenty of people who are prosperous. They don't care about spirituality. We're kind of that weird group in the middle, enlightened prosperity. All right, there you go. How was that?
That was fantastic. We've got another question here from Paula. She says, do I go to the seminar as a one-time shebang, or do I go sign up for coaching and get a long-term healing?
Great question. Do I go to the seminar and get a long-term or get a short-term shabam, or do I sign up for coaching and get a long-term healing? There's two answers, okay? One is you go to the seminar, here's what's going to happen. Here's your current level of consciousness, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort of measure where everybody is in their consciousness using applied kinesiology, and then we're going to discern, using our rapid enlightenment process, what needs to be released in the audience in order for people to go way up in their consciousness. And so we're going to see you go into states of what might be called the void, where all of a sudden you are just in a complete state of quiet. And then you're going to go home, and when you go home, you're going to drop down a little bit. You drop down a lot, actually. You'll drop down, but you'll never drop all the way back down to where you were, because we will have actually corrected imbalances in the event. So in the event, it's be like, oh, that is no longer relevant. And then you and I together, in the way that we're going to be dealing with each other, would be like, I'm letting that go, and I'm letting this go, and that no longer makes sense to me. And I'm going to take you through some processes where you literally shift your own thinking. Because how did you become the way you are? You became the way you are because for generations you thought about things in a certain way, and it programmed your DNA and it programmed your consciousness, and now here you are, right? But you got all this old information that isn't making any sense. So at the event, we're going to pop the consciousness way up, and then you'll even out down here somewhere when you go back home. Then, if you want, we do have a mastermind that you can be involved in. And in the mastermind, we work on a regular basis to keep pushing our consciousness up, keep going into quieter and quieter states and achieve more. We have that, and we'll make that available at the event. And then we also have an ongoing training called the P3 Academy. And the P3 Academy has all the trainings in it, all the stuff that I talk about. And that's a place where you can do ongoing training as well. Coaching with me, for most people, it's not really an option. First of all, I don't have a lot of spots. And second of all, it's really, really expensive. I have a $60,000 coaching package and a $30,000 coaching package, and for most people that just doesn't work. Okay, but that's just because I'm committed to being prosperous, just like you are. So, and my time is very valuable. So we're gonna create an opportunity for you to continue to work on it when we're at the event. We also have an opportunity for you to start working on it right now with our P3 Academy. And then Kristen and I are, you have no idea. We literally think about you 22 hours a day or something. I guess sometimes we dream about you.
We should show everybody what our living room looks like right now. And what it's looked like for the last 2 days.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, next time we do a live cast, we'll do the thing with the phone where we can,
awesome.
yeah, I can
great.
show
We've
more.
got some more questions here.
All right.
So Mario asked a really interesting question. What is the lesson that has taken you the longest to learn on your spiritual journey?
The lesson that has taken me the longest to learn on my spiritual journey. It's probably something like this. There is nothing urgent about life. Life is not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It's not starting or stopping or ending or completing or limited in any way. It's taken me a long time to really, really get to a place where my mind was quiet enough for long enough to recognize that all I'm experiencing is the energy and information that is being picked up on in the environment, and that even the energy and information is me. I'm the energy and information. The energy and information is me. The light that is shining on my face is me. I am the light. I know I'm getting a little wackadoodle right now, but that's sort of it's very difficult to explain. It's much easier for me to just get you to that place, and that's what we do at the event. We help people to go into that place where all of a sudden you go like, boom, and you go, whoa, I am everything. Everything is me. We are all the same thing expressing itself with infinite variety, and there's nothing for me to fear. I don't have to worry about anything. It's all going to work out. I mean, boom. You get there and it changes you forever. That's what's taken me probably the longest to learn at this lifetime.
So Mario has a follow-up to that, and he says, from your enlightened state, what question would you ask if you were a viewer today?
Oh, that's an interesting
Great question.
That's an interesting question. And I think, when we talk about from an enlightened state, really what we're saying in an enlightened state is it is a state of having no opinion about anything. Okay? And it's a state of recognizing that everything that I'm experiencing is only what I'm experiencing, and it's not the truth, it's not real, and it's not meaningful or important. Okay? So that's when we talk about enlightenment. It's sort of like I say it again, enlightenment is the recognition that the source of life within you is the source of life in everything and everything else, that we're all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. So that's what he means when he's talking about enlightenment, I hope. What question would I ask if I was an audience member? I think the question that I would ask...
I'll tell you what I would.
Oh, okay, good, yeah.
Now let me chime in.
Chime in.
Is it worth it? Is the journey worth it?
Yeah, but you gotta. So, is the journey worth it? Is the question. So, first of all, I don't even know if that's the right contextualization for the person who would be interested in this. It's sort of like this: if what I'm talking about is making your heart go like, oh God, get me there, you know what I mean? Then it's 100% going to be worth it for you. If what I'm talking about, you're like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Like if that's what your brain is saying, then this is not the right thing for you. And this is for the spiritual wackadoodles. We call them spiritual hooligans. This is for the spiritual hooligan. You're a spiritual person. You are super stoked about living a great life. You don't want to follow any rules. You don't believe in rules. You want to break out of all the limitations. I think if it was me, the question that I would ask is enlightenment possible for the everyday person? And the answer is, I'm an everyday person just like you. I was fascinated with this idea of getting to a quiet mind state, and I was driven to seek it and to experience it. And ultimately, I sought it and I experienced it. And now that I've experienced it, all I want to do is share it. And I'd love to share it with you. And the answer is unequivocally yes. The average person can experience profound enlightened states and also sustain them.
Awesome. This is Patty D.
Patty D.
One of our hooligans. She says, on the way to inner peace, is it far-fetched to think that you have to shed the old way of being in order to step into a new peaceful state?
Oh gosh, this is a good question. So she says, do you have to shed, on your way to inner peace, do you have to shed the old way of being in order to get into your new peaceful state? Kinda. So it's sort of like this. The universe, if you just look around, the universe is both creative and moving to greater states of order, and destructive. And entropic. Entropy is occurring everywhere. So it's like this creative force is pushing up, this entropic force is pushing down. And the entropic force is not a bad force. It's a part of the process. So creation and destruction are literally the same thing. They're just two sides of the same coin. Creation and destruction. So when I am seeking peace, oftentimes what I will experience is the destruction of negativity and resistance. So oftentimes I will go through a very destructive process. I will literally, you'll see, I don't know, have we ever showed them the Spiritual Hooligan logo that you made for me?
I don't know.
Kristen made this really cool Spiritual Hooligan logo for me, and it's the person meditating like this, and they're literally holding a match. And the reason that she made it, and the flame is up in the head, and the reason that she made this, grab one of the mugs. Yeah, we have mugs. Kristen is like she's a designer, creator person. She loves this kind of stuff. So it has a match, and the reason it has a match is that when she first started working with me, she noticed that I was unafraid of destroying things that didn't work. And she started to say to me, Matthew, I never knew what was going to happen. I felt like if I came, here we go, Spiritual Hooligans, bomb, bomb, bomb. See the match right there? So the thing is that she would say, I never knew like what would happen. Like sometimes I feel like I would walk into your office and you would turn around and you would just look at me with a smile and you'd have 2 sticks of dynamite lit in your hands. And you'd be like, what? What are we gonna do? And it was just me because when you go into your enlightened state, you have no problem destroying things that don't work. You just go like, that doesn't work. Blowing it up. So on your way to inner peace, will there be a shedding of your negativity? No, there'll probably be a destroying of all the things that create negativity. It's just part of the process. What you got for me?
What I got? I got 2 more great questions.
2 more questions. Here we go.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so Maxine asks, she says, I've completed the landmark curriculum.
Oh.
I so get much of what you're saying. How would you describe the difference in what you are making available?
Yeah, I loved my time in Landmark Education. I thought that they do such an amazing job getting you up to levels of consciousness that bring you into a state of joy. And what I found was I'd gone through their entire curriculum and I had these incredible states that I was feeling for good periods of time, but then I would drop right back into judging, assessing people. I would go into hopelessness or doubt or fear or uncertainty, and I was like, what is this? And so it's sort of like this. Landmark is going to deal with the world at the realm of the contextualization, which I think is unbearably important. I spend a lot of time there myself. We're going to deal with the world at what causes the contextualization to even occur. So I think of myself as where you go once you've done all the work. So once you've done all the work, because I'm like you, I did everything under the sun. Once you've done all the work, now where do you go? What do you do to kind of like complete the process so that you never have to do any work again? And that's really my main goal for you. Kristen, how many books do you read on personal development now?
None.
0. How many books do I read on personal development? And how many thousands of books did you read before? Thousands of books I've read. Thousands of seminars and videos and I mean on and on and on and on. And what happens is when you go to the next level, you literally come to a state of complete. You are complete. You recognize it is all perfect. And you don't recognize it like it's a saying, like it's a, like, oh, I'm a spiritual person, it's all perfect. And not that bullshit. I'm talking about like it's complete. You are, it's complete. You're living, it's complete. There's nothing else to do. And when there's nothing else to do, you know what you do? All the fun stuff you want to do. You start living life on your own terms. All guilt, gone. Obligation, gone. All the fear, gone. The worry, gone. The doubt, gone. The uncertainty, gone. It's gone when you remove the hidden motives. You correct those imbalances, and then you go up one higher and you work on the karmic and consciousness information that is imbalanced and has nothing to do with this life. And there's a bunch of it. There's a bunch of stuff that you live and you believe that has nothing to do with this life whatsoever, but you're still living it. It is illogical and it makes no difference, but it makes a huge difference because it limits you. So Landmark is going to talk to you here on the level of consciousness. We're going to go up here and here in the way that we deal. And what I found is when you deal with this stuff up here, it's so easy to do the really cool contextualization stuff that Landmark talks about. I mean, those guys are the masters. There you go.
Awesome. We have another question.
Okay.
I have followed the teachings of Abraham and you for some time, Matthew. How do you see the two teachings different?
So first of all, I am like you. I was on the weekly Abraham audio. Back then it was a tape for probably a good part of a decade, and really studied the law of attraction. Here's what I found. The law of attraction is not a law the way that they talk about it. Once your mind goes completely quiet, you start to realize, the law of attraction is the effect. It's the effect. The cause is the pervasive oneness that is expressing itself through you. So what happens is you end up looking like you're a law of attraction master when you practice the techniques that I'm going to teach you. And the reason being is that at this level, so it's sort of like this. Jerry and Esther, they're dealing with the bottom of the barrel. And they're dealing with the lowest common denominator and all the power to them. I don't want to deal with those people. I want to deal with people like you. I want to deal with people they've already been around the block. They've already done all the training. And they're sort of like, okay, I got the t-shirt. Now what? Now you and I, we're going to do some work together, okay? So it's kind of like this. When you are teaching a person who feels powerless, they are mired in victim and greed. And they are mired in illogical rules about how the world is supposed to work, etc., etc. When you're teaching that person, it's so unbelievably empowering to say, if you think about it, it will occur. But what's happening is actually something completely different. The only reason you're thinking about it is because you are the universe. the universe, God, source, is manifesting. You are the manifestation. You're the manifestation. So when you get an idea, it's not your idea. The idea was out there. You are a part of the idea coming into being. Now, as soon as you realize you're a part of the idea coming into being, you're not attached, you don't care, you're not worried, you don't freak out, you just let it all happen. You let it all flow. So the difference between what I teach and what Jerry and Esther have taught, or Abraham has taught for so long, is it's the next level. Here's the law of attraction. What you think about occurs, which, really started, I just want you to understand the lineage here. My lineage is like this. My father was my mentor. My father's mentor was a man named Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale is the man who coined the phrase, you become what you think about. Earl Nightingale's mentor was a man named Napoleon Hill, which sort of started the whole damn thing, and he studied people like Emerson and et cetera, et cetera. So that's my lineage. What I am all about is how do I hack my lineage? How do I take what Jerry and Esther does and actually make it work? And what I found was the way to make it work is I had to actually bust the whole system. I had to realize that the framework itself was only empowering to people who were at lower levels of consciousness. And when I say lower, I don't mean like low as in bad. You have to be a fairly high conscious person to dig their stuff. But for people like you and I, we have to go way up here. We're on an ascension path to complete and total enlightenment. It's just a different thing. Here's the thing. When you're enlightened, you don't give a shit if anything manifests. And then it all does. And then when it does, you celebrate it and you enjoy it. All right, what do you got for me?
That was it. I've asked for any more questions. I think we're good to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have completed our very first webcast. Woo-hoo! Dun, dun, dun. Well, I am so appreciative of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so fun for me to do this stuff. You know how long I have wanted to do like high value, TV style stuff. It's just always been in my creative space coming to me, and now I get to do it. Thank you very much. I can't wait to see you at Epic Life Live. Look out for more of these broadcasts. We're going to do a ton of them. I have so much stuff to share. I probably just need to be broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever, to just get all the stuff that's in my head out of it and out to you. All right? Looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you very much for being here. Bye-bye, everybody.